Hello everyone, this is Jotto and welcome to Versus Series. Remember, my team, Acebreakers, faces off against a well-known up-and-coming pro player. For this week we have JamesHugs from Acebreakers facing off against Jonpi from Vega Squadron. This is Jonpi's umpteenth time on the show, to the point when this time he actually got to pick his opponent. So he picked out James from the Acebreakers roster, so we'll see how that turns out for him. The format they're playing is, in fact, best of 5 Conquest. Now, before we get started, fairly quickly, the poll that I ran for the More Meat tournament format did end up as limited, so I will be doing a video in a couple of days going over some of the decks you guys can try out, because, let's be honest, most people do not have players to test with when it comes to obscure formats. But without further ado, let's get on to game number 1. So, for game number 1, we have Warlock starting out from JamesHugs against a Mage from Jonpi. Now, opening hand-wise, this looks to be Freeze Mage and Handlock. Bit of an interesting matchup. It depends a lot on how much healing the Handlock is playing. With double anti-Keelbot, it can definitely cause some issues. Turn 1 Zombie Chow is obviously in the deck to stop aggro decks and just give a bit of a better matchup, and you play it turn 1 because you don't know what your opponent's playing. Could be Mech Mage, could be Tempo Mage, or could be Freeze Mage. That's the advantage of playing Mage right now, is in the first couple turns, very difficult to figure out what you're playing. First couple turns I'm expecting to be fairly boring because the Handlock deck doesn't do much in the first few turns apart from tap, and the Freeze Mage is all about stalling until late game. However, there is an AcB Pain, which is a bit more action than we're used to. I'll put it that way. Now, I would not be surprised if Mortal Coil is used here, or Dark Bomb. I think Dark Bomb to prevent a card draw, since it's pretty obvious what you're playing against. Ah, yeah, I remember this. Alright, so I had a few issues with performance with Hearthstone this week. It seems to be fixed now, but there was some serious FPS issues. Now, that little stop there was actually caused by me accidentally tabbing out while recording, which for anyone who records knows that that stops your window capture, and yeah, it stopped everything. But all you missed is a Dark Bomb used an Acolyte instead of the Mortal Coil, because it's better for him to draw one less card than you to draw one extra card. Many Fire Blasts coming out to kill that. Zombie Chow doesn't exactly do the most damage, so you can use that much mana to kill it. And Ice Barrier coming down, because you might as well when you've got the mana. There's already an Ice Block. Oh, wow. Tapping before playing the Drake. That's painful. Also, he milled a Dark Scale Healer. Hang on a sec. Now, being a teammate of mine, James has talked about his Dark Scale Healer tech in Handlock before, and apparently it's very good. Now, what it actually means is that in this scenario, there is less healing within the deck itself. So if he's playing Dark Scale Healer, maybe there isn't an Earthen Ring as opposed to that. We do see Thorazan coming down. Oh, locked on Ice Barrier for some reason there. That was a bit weird. So we do have Thorazan coming down, which is going to be incredibly good. The only way of dealing with this is really Fireball, and you don't really want to use a Fireball on the Thorazan as Freeze Mage. We're just going to see a Thorazan response. This is dangerous. I think we're going to see some sort of Mortal Coil to kill this. Save the Siphon Soul for later. This is really dangerous. There's already anti-Keelbot in hand and Jiraxxus. 0 mana Mortal Coil. 2 Iron Beak Owls. That could be deadly. Iron Beak Owl, as a lot of you will know, will be able to unfreeze giants later on in the game to deal massive amounts of bonus damage through freezes, which your opponent won't be expecting. Blizzard. I would not be surprised if this gets Blizzard. Blizzarded? Blizzarded. Anyway. Arcane Intellect into Blizzard. Or maybe Blizzard Ping. Does that even do anything? No. Ooh, Doomsayer. Alright, that's a Frost Nova Doomsayer then. And I would not be surprised if it's Siphon Sold. You really want to keep those R&B cows for the surprise attack. If you can, obviously. Dark Bomb, okay. Yep, going for that Siphon Soul. Makes sense. And the question is, do you tap here? I don't think you do. Yeah, this game's going to go long, you really don't need to. So, there's a 2 mana anti-Cure bot and a 7 mana Jiraxis. On top of that, you've got so many cards in hand right now that cost 0 or 1 mana. In fact, bafflingly enough, his entire hand could be played for 11. That's nuts. This Thorazan has done an utterly insane amount of work, and Jonpi just hasn't had a way of dealing with this because you can't really fireball because it's a burn spell. You can't waste your burn in matchups like Handlock because they're playing so much healing. Oh, let's see what that is. It is another Ancient Watcher, not the most useful card you can possibly draw. I would not be surprised if he starts tapping again. Could see Dark Bomb into possibly tap. Maybe you just don't tap at all. Again, thinking like, hey, I've got time. I can play this out. 6 mana Jiraxis. Oh, Explosive Sheep. Does that do anything? No. I mean, he can play Explosive Sheep and then ping the Thorazan. This is really awkward. This is really awkward. What can he do here? He's got the Frostbolts. He has an insane amount of burn, but he can't get his Alexstrasza down. Because as soon as he uses Alexstrasza, he's going to lose, basically. Oh, you see the Frostbolt? That's going to be so painful. I think at this point, Thorazan triggers start becoming less useful, so I would have just left it. I mean, once a Thorazan's been on the board for this long, if you think about it, it's only reducing 2 cards, really. But we do have that 1 mana anti-Cure bot that's going to be really important later on in the game. Now, Freeze Mage, traditionally not the most entertaining deck to watch, but Handlock and Freeze Mage are generally slow decks in general, as we do see this Explosive Sheep combination. This is something which was thought about a lot when Explosive Sheep was spoiled, especially in GVG, which is, well, you now have a Consecration, basically, or a mini Hellfire, and we also have a floating Dr. Boom. Alright, Dr. Boom became Mookla's brother there for a second, that was weird. Yeah, they never really fixed that bug in Spectator mode, it still floats every so often. Now, that Boom is gonna hurt. There's a Blizzard, I think you Frost Nova. Still haven't seen a giant. Weirdly enough, by the way, we still haven't seen a giant. Shadow Flame, okay. Very slow turns, because we haven't seen any big threats from the Handlock yet, and the Freeze Mage is in a weird spot where he actually can't go for the kill because he knows that Handlock plays a lot of healing. So he can't go for the kill, which is really awkward. Which means we have a game where both players are in a bit of a stalemate. They're trying to figure out, how do we do this? This is going to be the second Explosive Sheep going down as a potential. Yep, second Sheep. Gonna kill these Boombots. And most of the rest of the board. Ooh, Pyroblast. That could be handy. That may be the only way Jonpi can burst through all of the healing. Keep in mind, he did already use a Frostbolt, but maybe he has enough. That is a lot of burn. I'll put it that way. That is a lot of burn. Might not be playing Antonidas, though, if he's playing Pyroblast. There's the Blood Mage. Okay, how do you do this? Giant. Yeah, alright, you play the Giant. And let's see, how do you play this? Do you attack the 1/1? There's Hellfire, there's... Oh, wow, using a silence to do that. Interesting. I think I may have, I think I may have used Shadow Flame there, actually. Yeah, I think I would have used Shadow Flame there. There's the freeze, and if he had 2 Iron Beak Owls, he could take him down to... In fact, the Ice Block would be gone. Because he could go Hellfire, and he'd go Hellfire, Silence... No, you have to silence first. You silence the Boom, attack, Hellfire, silence the Giant. No, because that would take him down to 8 base. So yeah, you have to silence both, attack, and then Hellfire pops the Ice Block. And you can play Anti-Keelbot to heal yourself all the way back up so he can't kill you in any way. I think that was a mistake, personally. We'll have to see how the game turns out, though. I do think Jonpi's still in a very awkward situation, as if you look at James's hand, there is 16 health of Anti-Keelbots and a Jiraxis that he has to compete with. Weirdly enough, that Dark Scale healer would have been pretty good. Play it, heal up, heal all your guys up to go through the blizzard damage. Would have prevented a board wipe like flame strikes and things like that. Just trying to reduce damage right now. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, going for that tap. If you tap, you kind of have to anti-Keelbot, I think. Play the cheaper one, play the Drake. Or maybe play the expensive one and then play... No, you don't have any other mana. Maybe play the Drake and the cheap one. That may have been better. Doomsayer not fantastic right now because he can't rely on any freeze cards. I think he's used all of them. Has he used all of them? Depends on whether he's using Cone of Cold, which not a lot of people do when they're freeze mages. You see an anti-Keelbot, which means he's gonna go for the kill. So we're gonna see a Frostbolt and some Ice Lances come out here, deal as much damage as is humanly possible. Taking him down to a 4. But we have a Jiraxis. There's going to be a Jiraxis. Is this going to be enough? I think you go Molten, Jiraxis. There's no reason to hold on to Moltens anymore. So just go Molten, Jiraxis, and pop the Ice Block, Big Game Hunter. Or even, yeah, pop the Ice Block, Big Game Hunter. We're going to see a Jiraxis come down, going to heal him up for 11 health, which is going to put him out of Pyroblast range and double Fireball range and pretty much everything. Already 1 Frostbolt gone, there's just 2 Fireballs, Pyroblast left. Now, if I've done that calculation correctly, I think that's game over. I'm pretty sure that's game over. He's got Hellfire. Or even Jiraxis weapon. There's the second Fireball, but does it matter? He can go Ice Block, Fireball, Fireball, taking him to 3. So he takes him to 3. Cools though, well played. On what side is that? Does he know he has the anti-kill bot? He probably assumes he does at this point. Pops the ice block, and then you just play anti-kill bot going up to 11, which is 1 damage off lethal for Jonpi. Wow, that was incredibly close. He does have the Antonitis, but it's just too late. Very close game. And unless James does something weird, he is in fact going to win this game. Proceeds to Hellfire. So, James takes game 1 in this best of 5 series in a very, very close control mirror match. That was an astonishingly close game. I think there were misplays on both sides, but the game itself was very close. Game 2, as we see both players switching. James obviously has to, he switched out to Rogue, and Jonpi has decided to switch to Warrior. Now, if I recall correctly, this is the game where I got a lot of frame rate issues with Hearthstone. I'm not sure why, I haven't got them since, but I did. So a bit strange on that front. It should be decent though. I mean, Hearthstone's a card game, it's not like it's that dependent on frame rate a lot of the time. So, this appears to be Oil Rogue, it should be Oil Rogue, against Control Warrior, not Patron Warrior by the looks of it. Keeping that in mind, I would say that this is a pretty bad matchup for the Rogue. The Rogue usually loses this matchup. Simply because of all the healing and all the removal, and it's just very hard to get through everything if you're the Rogue player when playing against Control Warrior. Not so much Grim Patron Warrior, that is much, much better for the Rogue, but when it comes to Control Warrior, not so much. So, going for that Preparation Eviscerate, the question is, what's he going to use it on? Using it on the Acolyte, because if he doesn't, his opponent's going to start getting 2 or even 3 cards out of the Acolyte off of his tokens. Alright, going for that Coin Sludge Belcher. Not much else in hand right there to play. That's a Sylvanas, and is that a Cairn? That should be interesting. That should definitely be interesting. I haven't seen Cairn in a very, very long time. We do see that Sap to deal with that Belcher, and Fan of Knives, Dagger, and Token should deal with the Armorsmith. Now, the reason he's doing it this way is because it stops his Violet Teacher from getting executed. So far, Jonpi does not have a method of killing his Violet Teacher, since he can also shred his armor down to 1, meaning he won't be able to shield slam it. Replaying that Belcher, never what you want to do. I think we're going to see Thorazan come down here. Loatheb is in theory more powerful in this spot, but Thorazan is just as good, if not better. What's the response going to be? Are we going to see Sylvanas? I think we might see Sylvanas come out here. I mean, you never know, maybe Sylvanas doesn't have time for games. Brawl? Interesting. Alright, let's see how this goes. I think I might have played Sylvanas and then Brawled next turn. Oh, wow. Oh, that was miserable. I think, yeah, you go Violet Teacher into Loatheb here. He's going to get 3 triggers from his Thorazan. That's insane. There's also a rather silly combo in his hand right now because he doesn't know whether he's playing against Control Warrior or Patron. He can assume it's Control Warrior from the Brawl, but nothing for sure. However, he has double his Eurotrake Fan of Knives, which is a combo that, you guessed it, kills Patron. So I would actually just hang on to that combo, use it when you need to kill the patrons. I definitely wouldn't fan of knives to cycle here. I don't see the point. I honestly don't see the point of that play. Deadly Poison, that's going to be another token. If he decides to use it here. Might be a bit worried about Harrison. Well, I think Jonpi is paying the price for not playing that Sylvanas when he had the opportunity. Because as a result now, he just can't do anything. His Sylvanas got sapped, and now he can't really do anything. Oh, I spy lethal. I spy lethal. You play Blood Mage, and let's see, you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, there's lethal on board. Well, not on board, in hand as well. But he needs to play this right, because this Violet Teacher could mess him up badly. Oh, no. No, he needed to play both Spell Power minions, I'm pretty sure. Oh my god, he actually missed lethal. He needed to play both Spell Power minions first before playing any spells. That was really bad. He's going to eviscerate the 5/5 now, I think. That was really bad. Alright, let's see if he can still win from here. I mean, I don't think he can lose from here, but that could be a brawl, for example. No brawl. Yep, and that'll be the game. Did miss the lethal, but that appears to be the game on board. Bit of a weird ending to that, but I think he was just so far ahead that there was no way Jonpi could recover. So James does take game 2, going on to what is potentially the series 2-0 up, and it is Mage versus Warrior. James is normally known for playing Freeze Mage, so this could be bad, but this looks suspiciously like Mech Mage, actually. Cogmasters. Yep, this is a full-flung Mech Mage. This could be extremely weird. Now, Mech Mage is still not good against Warrior, but this opening is absurd. Double Cogmaster into Snow Chugger. Armorsmith is the response, but there is a Snow Chugger and a second Snow Chugger. If either of these hit him, he basically loses. So, how do you play this? I think you have to go Axe, hit the 2-3, and then hit one of the Cogmasters with your Armorsmith. Start just getting rid of some of that health. Oh dear. Is this going to be an execute on a Snow Chugger? Is that actually where we're coming from here? I think he has to. I don't even think it's a bad play. I think you have to execute the Snow Chugger. That's not a play anyone likes making. But there is another mech. Maybe you should have gone Unstable Portal Mech Warper. Slight mistake there with the armor. Should have attacked first and then attack face so that you would have less armor overall. Actually, would have mattered. He had 2 armor, 3. Yeah, it would have. Now, this Sludge Belcher is going to be a bit awkward to deal with. He can, however... Ooh, top deck Fireball. He could ping or he could Fireball. I think he's going to go for the ping portal, see what he gets. Faceless Manipulator. Okay. Alright, so in this scenario, I think the problem with Faceless is that it's not that good here. I think you Faceless the Sludge Belcher. Faceless the Sludge Belcher, and then... Okay, that made very little sense. I don't know why you'd Faceless the Shredder. The Shredder just seems worse, in general, than the Sludge Belcher in this situation. Bit of a weird play there. Now, there is a Fireball to clear out this 5-5. You could also just use a Shredder. Oh, never mind. You can ping and then play the Yeti. And then ping, and then attack, see what you get. 2 Mad Bombers from the same Shredder, basically. He facelessed his own Shredder, they both got Mad Bomber. That's hilarious. Alright, so Baron Geddon is an okay play here. We'll wipe out a lot of this board, and we'll most likely get fireballed. Could also go... Oh, yeah. Now that he's top deck Mana Worm, I think you definitely play the Fireball. Now, something I've noticed is that this Mech Mage is running out of steam a little bit towards the endgame. He does have Dr. Boom, but past the Dr. Boom, I think that's the end of it. So if Jonpi can survive long enough to make sure that he plays down his hand and plays the more powerful cards, I think he can win. So I'm guessing there's no Shield Slam coming out here. Weird. You just take 2 extra damage for no reason there. Should have definitely attacked the Mech Warper and then Shield Slam the other one. Oh, Finicky Cloaking Field. Everyone's favorite spare part coming down on this Dr. Boom. And I think with that, that might be game. He does have the Brawl. Let's see if the Brawl strikes twice in the case of it going very, very badly for Jonpi. The last time Thorazan survived. Oh, nope, the Mana Worm lives. Let's see where the Boom Bots are going. 2 to the face, and 3, dealing 5, which is more or less standard. Now, I would not be surprised, yeah, he's going to use the emergency coolant here. Doesn't want to be dead to Fireball, but I think this is game over anyway. Taking that 2 extra damage might be the end of him. Okay, so I think you attack the Mana Worm and then execute the 4-5 and hope. I don't think I agree with this because Goblin Blast Mage is not as threatening as something like... Let's see, would he be dead to Frostball? Yeah, he would. He's dead to Unstable Portal now. Actually, no, he's just dead to a spare part. Yeah, that was a mistake. That made very little sense. Some very sloppy play towards the end here on Jonpi's side. He was just dead to spare part blank, I think. Should have definitely killed the Mana Worm the turn before. That would have made that a lot easier. In fact, if he'd... I think if he'd killed the Mana Worm instead of freezing it, that would have been a lot better. But anyway, so James actually ends up taking that series 3-0. Now, 3-0s in Conquest are not that common because there's so many different matchups that get played, but a lot of the games were very close. We had, game 1 went to almost fatigue levels. Not quite, but it almost did, and it came down to 1 HP point. Game 2 was a case of a pretty bad brawl luck and a couple of misplays really featuring there, letting James snowball, but then he did miss lethal, so it's not like I can harp on Jonpi's side particularly there. And in the third game, very, very strong opening from the Mech Mage. 2 1-drops into 3 different mechs with an unstable portal, and the unstable portal was not fantastic, but it was pretty good. So, as a result, James does end up taking the series. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback, put it in the comment section below. If you want to see any of the deck lists, they will be in the description as usual. But as for now, this is Jotto, signing off.